Hello and welcome to another video. I hope that you're all very well. Following the Department of Transport's announcement in the Houses of Commons to allow critical workers to be able to book driving lessons and take driving tests and also take theory tests, there's been a lot of confusion amongst the general public. I've had several comments on this channel asking me whether their job is considered as critical and also how do they go about booking a critical workers driving test. Now, the information has now officially appeared on the government website gov.uk. So firstly, it's not the same as it was last time. The first time round, in the first lockdown, key workers could book an emergency driving test with a link on the government website. However, this time round, it is completely different. Key workers cannot book a driving test, and key workers cannot book driving lessons or a theory test. In fact, even most critical workers cannot take driving lessons or book a theory test or a practical driving test. Only certain key workers. Now, these key workers must meet two conditions. The first condition is that driving must be part of their job. So, at work, they have to have driving as part of it. Secondly, they must respond to life-threatening situations. So, those are the two conditions. Let's take a nurse, for example, who works in the ICU unit of a COVID, that's it, the COVID ICU. That particular nurse will not be entitled to take driving lessons, a theory test, and will not be entitled to book a driving test. The reason being is although his or her work is responding to life-threatening situations, that person does not drive as part of their job. So the job must involve driving. If, for example, you work in the council and the council says, oh, we've got a vacancy for gritting the roads in the snow and the frost, then that would be considered, that person will be considered eligible to book driving lessons and a driving test because they are driving as part of their work, and also they are considered as responding to life-threatening situations, because if they do not do their job, then that can cause collisions and accidents and loss of life. Let me give you another example. If you're a doctor and you work in the hospital and your job is fixed to the hospital, then you cannot book driving lessons. Again, you cannot book a driving test or a theory test. Even though you're responding to life-threatening situations, driving is not a part of your job. However, if you're a doctor who visits people's houses, makes house calls, for example, a GP makes emergency house calls, then that GP will be able to book a driving lesson, book a driving test, a theory test, because they meet both conditions. They can book, they are responding to life-threatening situations, and driving becomes part of their job. Okay, so let's assume that your job falls in this category. How do you go about booking it? Because there is no link on the government website. The only way of booking an emergency driving test is through your employer. You cannot book a driving test. A learner driver at the moment cannot themselves apply for a driving test. The employer, your employer. So if you work for the NHS must apply for you. You cannot directly apply. If you worked for a local council, again, the council must apply, not the learner driver. Furthermore, if you take driving lessons, you can be stopped by the police. So if you're a critical worker and you meet these requirements, you cannot just start taking driving lessons. You can only take driving lessons, again, under two conditions. Condition one is that you have a driving test already pre-booked. And condition two, you have a letter with you from your employers to say that you've applied for this test and they do require you to drive part of your job. So those both conditions have to be met in order for you to take driving lessons. Well, I hope that's clarified the situation. It's a nasty situation, and I know we all just want to get on the road and get this thing finished. As soon as I have any information that has to do with driving lessons, theory tests or driving tests, I will post it on YouTube, but you will only get that information if you're a subscriber with the bell notification on. So if you're not a subscriber, then now is the time to do so. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.